who had worked in implementation of pharmacovigilance then she So I have a brief introduction of my pharmacovigilance center, which was although allotted in 2000 by official process is took start and finally officially the program was started in September 2020. That till date we have reported 12 misleading advertisements, and it gives me privilege that we got the response from the West Bengal and detection in 3 cases. Then we have reported four adverse because we have only 4 dispensaries in the government sector, while only 1 medical officer is appointed. We have many RRIUMs over here yet to start to give their feedback, and this is particularly so that he can take action. College is not at all. Here we have one private Unani college. Although I requested in the meeting Dr. Katosh Saab, advisor who is heading the pharmacology section in Ministry of Ayush, that maybe directed to give full support to the pharmacovigilance centers. I don't know whether some action has been taken in that direction or not. Then we have till date attended 19 webinars conducted time to time by different pharmacovigilance centers throughout India, and one awareness program was conducted in the month of March 2020. We have since we deal with Unani medicine, and most of the Unani advertisements are given in the Urdu newspapers. So we have online one newspaper, that is Akhbar Mashriq, and then Sara and Swami News we access online and then report to the Director General Ayush of West Bengal, and copy is being sent to the National Pharmacovigilance Center at NIM Bangalore. We have seen that we get the response because one newspaper editor also phoned me that what is this and how we can deal with this. When he got notice from the Director General of Ayush West Bengal, then he called me that we got some notice, what is it about? Then I sent him all the cosmetic drug rules, that how you can deal with these kind of advertisements, and was none other than from Rashtriya Sahara Urdu. So these are glimpses of our activities, although not of so much. This I can't say that these activities are at par with other centers, but we are trying our best to give whatever maximum we can. We are giving maximum force, and this webinar will also help us in propagating our cause, propagating the pharmacovigilance among the RUMPs in West Bengal and other parts of the country. And now I have already talked to Dr. Kumli Saab. We have a program that we may go for a survey that how many RUMPs, because we have around 2,000 RUMPs who are non-qualified Unani practitioners, how many of them are aware of pharmacovigilance? We take up a survey and as I came, he's having some schedule ahead, so I just Over to Dr. Galip. गालिब साहब अनम्यूट, अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर लीजिए. Please unmute yourself.
It is over to Dr. Galip sir, please. Yeah.
It's my turn. Okay. Sorry.
Please.
There is much noise and I couldn't hear it clearly, sir. The inconvenience. I thought Munshiji is speaking still. Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation and at the outset, Dr. Yunis Munshiji, who is the program coordinator of this peripheral pharmacovigilance unit, and Professor Alimuddinji, so who is the coordinator of intermediary pharmacovigilance program, and the center which is taking care of, which is supervising all Unani peripheral pharmacovigilance centers across the country. And I'm also seeing both learned speakers. Of course, I'm meeting Muzammilji after a long time. So welcome Dr. Muzammil Rahmanji to this gathering, and Dr. Ansariji. So and all other learned participants, and I feel I'm not sure. So there may be some of the postgraduate students and other gathering of this specific event. I completely agree. Of course, I couldn't hear it completely, so there was a much noise in the opening remarks of Munshiji, but I feel I agree that so traditional systems, so Unani systems and all other Ayush systems, they have a long history, and so they are being accepted by so worldwide. And because of so many other reasons, the demand is also so it is increasing towards so these traditional systems of medicines. And Unani medicine is also so I'm not an expert to say anything about the Unani system of medicine, but it's definitely it's an ancient system of medicine, an integral part of the Ministry of Ayush, and it is commonly practiced in the Indian subcontinent, and has a age-old concept and principles of drug management. So of course, so the theories and all those things, so the experts, so they will speak upon those things, but definitely I understood. I was trying to understand what exactly this system of medicine is, and I come across with various references where drug safety has been categorically mentioned in these classical literatures of Unani system of medicine. So it has been, of course, drug safety is one of the crucial topics so that are being discussed in our daily medical practice in current scenario. So since the early days of human civilization, if at all we are looking, you suppose, so in numerous laws or acts, so they have been many amendments, so they have been created to make sure that the drugs are safe. And then so the drugs are effective. So I'm saying that the drugs are so the gazettes and all these laws. So they focused upon the amendments to say that the drugs are safe first, and then only so they focused upon effective. So that's why so they used to think about safety first and then effectiveness. So personalized medicine is so one of the important aspect which is being focused in current trends of so medical field. So personalized medicine. So it should be considered. So when medications are given to patients, so because the pharmacokinetic process inside the body, so it varies from person to person. So this is we know very well. And then I believe that so Unani formularies they have emphasized on so such kind of so proper reasoning. So in the method of preparation of various drugs, and method of administration, indications and contraindications and all these things. So they might have even mentioned, the which drug is supposed to be considered, I mean consumed along with, okay, so which kind of diet, in the sense parhez kya karna chahiye. So if at all, okay, so these code of conduct is not followed, you suppose, okay, so what kind of inconveniences, I'm not saying that whether it is adverse drug event or effect or whatever it may be, reaction or whatever. So what kind of inconveniences, what kind of suspected inconveniency is anticipated, and so is there is any possibility of interactions in between drug and drug, and in between drug and food, and in between, okay, so food and food. Okay, so these concepts are also, okay, so I mean in a beautiful way, okay, so they have been explained in the classical literature. But the thing is, of course, okay, so आपने शायद शेड्यूल इवन ड्रग्स के बारे में भी वहाँ पे है ना, तो एक्सक्लूसिव डिस्क्रिप्शन में भी देयर इन द क्लासिकल लिटरेचर ऑफ यूनानी सिस्टम ऑफ मेडिसिन. But the thing is, the aim of all these precautions and prescriptions and code of conduct that has been mentioned in the classical literature is, I mean, so it has been taken by, okay, so precautions they have been taken by the physicians of, okay, so I mean previous days, and even in current time also, okay, so you are taking. So it well informs that, okay, so it has been well emphasized by these Unani physicians, and obviously, okay, so all these precautions, it is just to avoid all such kind of adverse drug possibilities of all such kind of adverse drug reactions. Okay, so that is my feeling. And I mean, if it is well known that, okay, so these drugs, whatever it may be the drug, okay, so let it be Ayush drug or whatever it may be, so these drugs are supposed to be, I mean, of course they are providing cure. So whenever they are providing cure, okay, so they must be guided that they are used judiciously. And so this description is very much essential to build evidences through statements or experiences of credible persons. Okay, so all of you are credible persons too. Okay, so for us, and depending upon, okay, so these experiences and these statements, okay, so inferences are supposed to be, okay, so developed to generate clinical experiences. So in this direction, okay, so there are many such kind of activities, okay, so they are going on. And I mean, so in the direction of developing evidences, databases, okay, so much more, okay, so efforts, okay, so they are being taken care by, of course, okay, so many of, okay, so you physicians and even Ministry of Ayush and CCC, RRIUM is there, okay, so they are taking much more efforts. But unfortunately, what happens is many times, on the other hand, than the other facet of the coin, if at all we are looking, you suppose many of the consumers, okay, so they always believe that, okay, so this is natural, so this is safe. Many a times they feel. So and they feel that, okay, so remedies, okay, so which are coming from natural origin, okay, so they are harmless, okay, so they carry no risk, okay, so these kind of opinions, otherwise, okay, so belief is there in the society. So definitely, okay, so though these traditional products, as I mentioned just now, so they have medicinal values, definitely they have, and they are beneficial for the human health, okay, so they can contribute significantly to the global health.
आप शेयर कर लीजिए सर.
Here is a problem. Hello.
आप शेयर कर लीजिए.
अभी
पीपीटी नहीं आ रहा है सर. पीपीटी नहीं आ रहा.
सर.
Just a moment, sir.
ओके.
अब दिखाई दे रहा है सर?
दिखाई दे रहा है सर?
डॉक्टर मुंशी जी
पीपीटी दिखाई दे रहा है सर?
नहीं सर, अभी भी नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है आपका. हाँ, अब now it is visible. Now it is visible, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Right, sir. So
Right,
the
sir.
pharmacovigilance is defined as
the science and activities relating to the assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse effects or any other possible drug-related problem. Further, it is pharmacovigilance also includes medicine, herbals, biologicals, medical devices, blood products, vaccines, and also traditional and
complementary medicine.
complementary medicine.
Basically, pharmacovigilance
Basically,
is not only
pharmacovigilance is
focusing
not
upon
only
the
focusing upon
modern drug
the
and
modern drug and
drug-related
drug
surveillance
related
system,
surveillance system,
but they are also
but they are
included
also
herbals,
included herbals,
biological, medical
biological,
devices,
medical devices,
vaccine products,
vaccine products,
traditional and
traditional
complementary
and
medicine.
complementary medicine.
Beyond
Beyond
that,
that,
it
it
also
also
focuses
focuses
on
on
interaction of
interaction
drug with
of
the drug,
drug with the drug,
interaction of drug with the
interaction of drug with
foods,
the foods,
use of
use of
substandard
substandard
medicine,
medicine,
medication
medication
error,
error,
drugs which are
drugs which are
lacking
lacking
efficacy
efficacy
reports,
reports,
abuse and
abuse
misuse
and
of
misuse of
medicine,
medicine.
use of medicines for which that indication has not been approved. These are all the things needed. The sphere, the scope of pharmacovigilance is expanded beyond the drug-related activity. It particularly focuses about medication error, substandard, lack of efficacy report, and above
Substandard lack
all,
of efficacy
India is
report,
the
and
only
our
under
only country
pharmacovigilance program.
where under
Misleading advertisements
pharmacovigilance
are also being
program,
included.
misleading advertisements are also being
So,
included.
as we know that
As for
diseases and their cures
diseases
were
and
known to
the
the
cures
mankind since time
who are known
immemorial.
to the since
But at
time
the same
immemorial.
time, people
But at the
are
same
well
time,
versed with the
people
benefits and side effects of
were
the
versed
drugs
with
what they were
the
using. It was only in the 20th
it
century
was only in the
some of the
20th
adverse effects
century
observed with the
some
usage of certain drugs that leads to the genesis of the pharmacovigilance program. If you look into the history, during
history.
1848, this
During
was supposed to be the
1848,
first
this was
medical
supposed to be the first
record of
medical
ADR associated with the
record
use
of
of
ADR
local
associated
use
with
of a
the use of
chloroform that
local use
leads
of
to
a
an
chloroform
unexplained
that
death
leads to an
in a
unexplained death
very young
in a
15 years
very
old
young
girl.
15
She
years
was
old
suffered with
girl. She was
infected
suffered with
toenail. As a local application,
toenail.
when she was given
As a
to
local
remove the infected nail, she
given
met with
to
a death.
infected nail.
This was supposed to be the
That
first ADR
unintended the
reporting rather
safety rather
focusing on the
focusing on the
efficacy.
efficacy.
This elixir
This elixir
sulfanilamide
sulfanilamide
causes death
causes
of
death
more than
of more than
100 children
100 children
around
around the
globe those
globe those
days.
days.
And the
And the
most
most
important and a very
important big
point in the history of
point in the
medical
history of
sciences is
medical
the
sciences is
thalidomide
the thalidomide,
disaster.
and the very
Big
big
point in the history of
point in the
medical
history of
sciences is
medical
the
sciences is
thalidomide
the thalidomide
disaster during
disaster during
1960-61.
1960-61.
Basically,
Basically,
thalidomide was a drug
thalidomide
of
was a
choice
drug of
used
choice
for a
used for a
neurological pain
neurological pain
and people who
and
are
post
traumatic
traumatic
stress.
sensitive.
But at
But
the
at the
same
same
time,
time,
some of the
some of the
people they
people they
expo
expo
found
found
that
that
thalidomide is
thalidomide is
also having beneficial effect among the pregnant women, people who are conceived in the early days of the pregnancy. It prevents hyperemesis gravidarum. Though the drug is not being
though the
indicated
drug
to
is
use among the pregnant women for
used among the
controlling the
pregnant
nausea and
women for
vomiting,
controlling
but the drug
nausea and
was
vomiting,
indicated for
but
something
the drug
because
was
of the
indicated
hidden
for
or new findings
because
of
of
the
the
drug.
hidden or
Thalidomide
new
was
findings
used
of the drug.
abundantly among the pregnant women. As a result,
Pregnant
around
women
10,000 children
is
were born with the
adult
deficits upper and the lower
born with the
limbs.
deficits
This is a
upper
medical
and the lower
condition
limbs.
called as the
This is a medical
phocophilia.
condition called as the
From this
phocophilia.
incident
From
after
this incident
1961,
after
different
1961,
countries they
different
started
countries
focusing on pharmacovigilance centers have been established throughout the India. They are working as a at the ground level
as a
in collecting the
at the ground
information
level
related to
in
the drugs
collecting
of
the information
Ayush,
related to the
any
drugs of
related
Ayush,
activity, either
any
it could be a
related
side
activity, either
effect,
it
adverse
could be a
effect,
side
adverse
effect,
events,
adverse effect,
severe
adverse
adverse drug
events,
reaction,
severe
or
adverse drug
any
reaction,
considerable
or any
matter which is
considerable matter which is
unintended is being
unintended
reported
is
through
being
an established channel.
through
It is anticipating and it is
and
proposed that by
anticipating
2020, the
that by
Ministry of Thinking to
2020,
have
the
around
Ministry of Thinking to
100
have
peripheral
around
pharmacovigilance
100 peripheral
center all over
pharmacovigilance
the
center
India,
all over the
so to
India.
have a good
So
culture of reporting and to make awareness of all the
reporting
people
and
involving in the
aware
health sector.
all
If we come to this point, like as I already
we
told,
come to
we
this
have
point,
nearly
like as I
five
already told,
intermediary
we have nearly
pharmacovigilance
five
centers, two
intermediate
Ayurveda, one Unani, one
pharmacovigilance centers,
Siddha,
two
and one home
Ayurveda,
in the
one Unani, one
Kolkata.
Siddha, and one home
Apart
in
from that,
Kolkata.
74
Apart
peripheral
from that, 74 peripheral
pharmacovigilance centers of different
pharmacovigilance centers
system
of
of
different
medicine. The
system
recent
of
past
medicine.
only,
Recent past
Soya
only,
Tibetan
Soya
system of
Ripa,
medicine is
Tibetan
also
system of
being
medicine.
incorporated into this project, and one peripheral pharmacovigilance center is came up at Research Institute of Soya Ripa, the Tibetan medicine at Leh. as a
As a
coordinator of this
coordinator of this Unani
program of
program
pharmacovigilance,
of pharmacovigilance,
as this is
as
Bangalore National
this
of
is
Unani Medicine is the
Bangalore National of
intermediate
Unani Medicine is the
pharmacovigilance
intermediate
center
pharmacovigilance
under
center. Under
our
our supervision, around 11 peripheral pharmacovigilance centers so far established in different parts of the country in each center in one state. Still, it is our quest and trying to have every state should have a one Unani related pharmacovigilance center. So, a request is being placed with the Ministry of Ayush and National Pharmacovigilance Center to give few more centers in different part of the India. As
the
the
objective of the
objective of the program
related
to the safety of the drug,
basically
basically
pharmacovigilance
pharmacovigilance
is
is also
also
encompasses
the
the
material
material vigilance,
where
where as a physician we prescribe drugs, and the drugs are nowadays Ayush related drugs. The most related problem with the drugs is the chances of adulteration is there. Substandard quality, spurious medicine, drugs which is being not indicated. So, pharmacovigilance is also parallelly focusing upon the kind of material procuring and processing as a drug is being taken care. Coming to the part of the instruments what we are using in our system of medicine, particularly in the field of pharmacy, if you look at the classical methods of preparation of the drugs and the compounds, in all the alternative system of medicine, it includes Unani, Ayurveda, Siddha, or pharmacopoeias have been explained about the classical methods of preparing the drugs. Churnas, bhasmas, creams, majun, javaris, joshanda, all those things have been described how to prepare. Accordingly, we have to prepare, but sometimes we often use certain materials to grind it, to sieve it, to prepare it, to boil it, to preserve it, or to store it. But all such techniques are not being available today. That modern technology has been taken over upon the classical instrumentation what our Atiba, our Veds, our Hakir they used to do. So my focus is in the field of pharmacy, whosoever is preparing the drug, one should be very careful while using the material, because the Karal, Silbatta and all these things are in our literature. They have defined about the different types of Karal and the Silbattas for preparing the drugs, and the quantum of work has also been prepared. How much of a time to be taken for preparing the medication. Probably we have got substituted with the modern machinery, but the efficacy and the other aspects of the drugs, what we are getting is a need of the time to be discussed under the pharmacovigilance. Coming to the other aspect of the system of medicine, the regimens or tadabir. In Unani system of medicine, we have around hundreds of tadabir regimens are there, where we use different materials and the products. Let us try to understand Irsalullah Tali ya leeches. The science says all the leeches, there are around 600 species of leeches are there. In our literature, we have two basic categories of the leeches are there. Some of them are highly poisonous one. Some of them are non-poisonous one. I can say medicinal leeches are there which are supposed to be non-poisonous one, should be used for the purpose of bloodletting in Unani literature, Unani medicine, as well as the other alternative sciences where they are using leeches. Primary focus should be given to collect the exact characteristically defined kind of matter material leeches, rather taking not the poisonous one, because poisonous leeches can cause harm to the individual whom they are applying. But at the same time, in Unani we have very popular technique, the regimen called Mahajimenaria. This is nothing but is a fire cupping. The classical method of application of Mahajimenaria is, of course, today may not be viable possible, because the way they used to do with the expertness and the practice is there. Today what procedure we are doing, once we taken care the material of the naria or the flaming substance what we are using should be very carefully to be where we apply the cupping Mahajimenaria. Hijama Bilashut is nothing but it's a dry cupping, and generally in our literature different materials are used as the Mahajima, like horns, the ceramic balls, glasses, different kind of utensils are used. Beyond that, the horns of the animal horns were suggested to use as a cupping. But today, all such materials are not available. And because of so many such reasons and the limitation, we are unable to use such a thing. I mean to say all these things have been replaced, substituted with the modern instrumentation. So one should be very careful about such a materials and its effectiveness while they are using during the procedure. Hijama Bilshut is the one of the popular method of bloodletting procedure. Here also, as there is no standard operating procedure and places where one has to be used. From the literature, hardly few 20 places are there that can be used as a prophylactic drainage of the blood. But one should be taken care what are the materials to be used before using the procedure, that pre-procedure, during the procedure and post-procedure. All material and material related issues to be dealt very thoroughly. The chances of ADRs or something uneventualities are always likely to be there in this procedure. First is nothing but the phlebotomy, or somebody can say this is a venesection. In classical literature, great emphasis has been paid towards the removal or elimination or evacuation of the vitiated blood from the body, and thus very acceptable procedure those days were suggested by the venesection of specific vessels. Today, we are unable to follow the classical means and methods of performing the first or venesection, but technologically we are using the devices, but procedurally, the thing what the classical Tibba or Veds Hakim have told, we are totally ignoring these things. Probably here we need to focus about to revive the classical knowledge with the minimal use of the modern devices and gadgets if possible. Hammam, this is nothing but the bathing procedure. In Unani literature, the importance of hammam was very much emphasized. The classical hammam contains 3 different rooms, and all the rooms were well connected with all the accessories, and moreover the heating system was very elaborately defined in the text as a holocaust kind of a system through which they used a material to heat the chambers. But today, the technique of hammam is being practiced with the modern Atibba and modern physicians, but structural or component-wise, the technical specifications of the hammam what were prescribed in the literature is being ignored. Nowadays, we are using electrical combustion system or heating system rather than using wood or some other material to generate heat in the hammam. My concern here is it that electrical energy or electrical heat will definitely substitute the importance or can be substituted and replaced with the classical method of providing heat to the hammam is a matter of concern. These are all the places where likely to be adverse effect or eventualities are there where people should focus. As the pharmacovigilance program, the objectives of the program is we have enlisted 3 different objectives. The very short-term objective is to foster a reporting culture. As now today we have gathered, we are learning something to make you to be a responsible person, to develop a culture of reporting any adversaries if you found with any drug, either it could be a herbal one or modern medicine, conventional drug, food drug, anything. If you find anything unusual, please try to report it. We are planning to develop a culture of reporting. The intermediary objective is to involve a large number of the healthcare professionals in the information dissemination. As a part of this program, only this awareness program is being conducted and conducting since for the last 6 months to sensitize all the people in the health sector, all the stakeholders, which includes doctors, physicians, nurses, pharmacists, paramedical staff, even patients attendants also being, we are asking them to be here like a responsible person in dissemination of the information. And the long-term objective is to make a benchmark of the global drug standard, because in alternative system of medicine there are so many drugs. One drug is being treated as a safe, and the same drug is being considered in some other places as a not safe. For example, Aristolochia is one of the drugs we often generally use in all the alternative system of medicine, but the modern science and the report says that this drug contains, the herb contains aristolactic acid, which itself is a nephrotoxic. So we are focusing about that which species, the species from where we have collected, does that species alone contains the higher amount of this aristolactic acid or some other heavy metal minerals that causes harm. So to have a benchmark of the global drug, this is the long-term objective of the project, trying to collect the information globally or wherever the system is being used to strengthen our system. During this project and program, Pharmacovigilance, we often come across certain terms are there. ADR, which stands for adverse drug reaction, adverse event or adverse reaction, suspected, unexpected, severe adverse reaction, severe adverse drug reaction, causality assessment. These are all some of the terms we often use in the pharmacovigilance program. If you try to understand this, common term generally when we use here is the side effect. The side effect is a non-specific term used to describe an unwanted effect of the drug. This is a layman language, rather technically we can say adverse events or adverse experiences where any untoward or undesirable medical experience that may present during the treatment with a pharmaceutical product but which does not necessarily have a relationship with this treatment. This is called as an adverse event. Adverse drug reaction, about which what we are talking, and the project is also focusing about suspected ADR. It is a response to a drug which is noxious and unintended and which occur at a normal dose used in a human being for either a prophylaxis, diagnostic or therapeutic purpose of diseases or sometimes for modification of the physiological function. This has something like a suspected causal relationship between the medical product and the reaction is there. Suspected unexpected serious drug reaction is all suspected adverse reaction related to any investigational medicinal product or the comparator that are both unexpected and serious are subjected to be expeditiously reviewed. Why is this happening? One has to be thoroughly reviewed. Unexpected areas where the nature severity is not consistent. Sometimes such information may not be available in the literature. We can focus about this. Finally, if anything you found as an ADR reaction or any uneventuality with the use of a drug or drug-related activity, there are certain tools through which we assess the adverse event. WHO developed one assessment scale for adverse drug event, and there is another very commonly popularly used Naranjo scale for adverse drug assessment. If you use this scale where we have certain components, with the use of the drug, you can come to the conclusion that suspected reaction is exclusively just because of the drug. If a person complain of reaction with the use of any drug, find out the cause and the relationship, then you can consider it as a certainly the reaction or with the drug. Sometimes what happens, if a patient consumes some drug, some other factors will play into a role and some adversaries will be there. But the reaction is not directly related to the drug what they have used. In such case, you can put an obligation, probably the reaction may be a probable. Similarly, possible is there, unlikely where you can simply rule out that the reaction is not with the drug or intervention what we have given. Apart from that, beyond this, there are certain conditions where some environmental factors, dietetics or some other habits of the individual may provoke the condition. That conditions will be considered as a conditional factors for the ADR. Out of these 6, up to 5 the possibilities are there. Beyond that, sometimes we are unable to assess or quantify or classify the relationship between the drug and the ADR. Such a things is categorized as unaccessible and unclassifiable areas. Here, National Institute of Unani Medicine under its project Intermediate Pharmacovigilance Center for Unani drugs, we came out of with one customized area reporting form. I hope that it is available, visible also. You can see it is a very customized, easily understandable, reportable form provided in 4 pages, and where a person who is interested to report. Now we are rather requesting all the people to be part of this program. All medical practitioners, students, pharmacists, nursing staff, any person try to access this application available. All these applications are also available in all the peripheral centers. Take all the point in consideration: patient, consumer identification number, all the questions which are very easily understandable. If you can't answer this, please contact the nearest person available who can technically help you. If you find any suspected ADR, try to mention the date and the time of initial observation, description of the reaction, find out whether the person is suffering with any concomitant disease, suffering like any liver problem, kidney problem, cardiac, diabetes, and any other information. Please mention. Beyond that, if you wanted to put any information, mention something additional. Is any previous history of allergy with the drugs the person is using? Try to mention it. And a list of drug related information also is being mentioned. Sometimes the patient are using multiple drugs as a concomitant therapy, so we cannot predict that which drug is causing reaction. Sometimes drug reaction is also anticipated. So please try to mention a group of drugs the person who is using, so that we can reach to the right point which drug is responsible for the cause of ADR. Along with this is the form, this reporting form, where if you're suspecting something, try to mention the name of the drug. If you have any manufacturer, name of the manufacturer, including expiry date, remain the packing label, in what form the patient was used. Like most of the Ayurveda Unani drugs will be recommended to use in some vectors are there, like whether the drug is being suggested to use in water, with honey, or any other thing, whether the patient followed the same instruction or not, and dietary precautions to be taken. All such information questions are available that can be please kindly fill, reaction updated, all these things are there. And finally, here the person who is reporting the name, please kindly mention here. The policy of the program is the entire thing will be kept under confidentiality. Confidentiality of the patient, confidentiality of the reporter will be taken care. Anything related to query, a team of people will come in contact with you for further clarification. The final page is the ADR form for pharma. Based upon the question, you can score it based on the total score. If a person who is getting more than 9 of a score under the Naranja scale, you can say the reaction is certainly with the drug what they have used. Similarly, if the range is between 5 to 8, we call it as a probable, 1 to 4 possible. If the score is 0, then you can say it is unlikely. At the end, there is a signature of the coordinator. This proforma is available in all the pharmacovigilance centers and all the ASU government officials also. Finally, how and where to report? Sometimes some people say this proforma is not accessible. So what are the other means and modes through which one can able to report this? Ayush Suraksha, this is a dedicated website hosted by the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. Please go to this website www.ayushsuraksha.com, where you will get a detailed digital form. Digital form is there. You can enter the data, all the points are there, whichever is essential you just mention, including the details, submit it. A group of people in the rear end will scrutinize this, they will contact you, they will try to assess the casualty if it is required. If it is not, the people who are living near to the peripheral pharmacovigilance centers, people in the Kolkata, like in all over India, we have 74 centers. You can go and contact the peripheral center people, they will help you understanding and reporting this one. And about the peripheral centers, we have 5 intermediate pharmacovigilance center. Here we have mentioned ipvcname@gmail.com. Send any sort of information. If you have query or any ADR to this email, we will attend you on priority. Finally, the National Pharmacovigilance Center is at the Apex, Delhi. They are overall taking care of all this activity, and that will be documented and appropriately monitored. Thank you for listening patiently. Thank you. When you have a question, please.
Discussion. Having a discussion himself.
वो दिखाई दे रहा है पीपीटी दिखाई दे रहा था हमारा नहीं बता दियो मुंशी सर ने कुछ बोला बट नहीं आई मुंशी सर
आपकी आवाज सुनाई नहीं दे रही है सर।
Hello.
जी
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Hello. Okay. The forum is open for the discussion. If anybody is having any query or any suggestion here, we are ready to take the suggestions also, which can be very much helpful in the future of the program. If anybody is having any suggestion, any question, he may please come up.
Or you can
We have
place the
learned
question in the
people
chat
over here
please.
who can.
They can place the question in the chat box also so that we can attend it from here, sir.
Yes, we have a message box, and I don't think there is any question yet.
Please.
So, shall we invite another next guest of to present? Dr. Kumri sir.
Sir, please call the next speaker, please.
Okay, so just a minute. We have with us Dr. Muzammil Rahman. She has worked in implementation of this program while being in the ministry way back in 2017-18. She was appointed as a research officer in Ministry of Ayush, Government of India through CGHS. Then she joined as assistant advisor in the ministry. Was just actively involved in the framing of acts in the pharmacovigilance and other programs of Ministry of Ayush. She has 10 years of professional experience, which includes teaching as well as clinical experience. She has also worked as assistant professor in Karol Bagh TVA College. Then she has been expert in various trainings for drug regulation and manufacturers and Ministry of Ayush courses throughout the country. She has represented the Ministry of Ayush at various platforms. After considerable stint in Ministry of Ayush, she joined back in CGHS, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and now presently she is working as Senior Medical Officer in Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. She is posted in Delhi itself. I request Dr. Muzammil Rahman to please start her presentation and enlighten the audience with her experience in drug regulation, and also how the manufacturers and those who are the medical practitioners but are not qualified, such as Hakims, how they can help us, how we can help them, and how they can help us to take forward this noble cause of pharmacovigilance. Over to Dr. Muzammil Rahman. Madam, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. I would like to be sure that I am audible to everyone. Am I audible to everyone?
Hello, madam, you are audible. Please carry on.
Okay. Mute him.
Yeah.
Mute him.
So should I proceed?
You proceed, please.
All right, sir. So good afternoon, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, and everyone here. First of all, I would like to thank for having me
स्टार्टिंग
here.
खराब हो गई हमारी
जी
That
स्टार्टिंग
once
बस खराब हो
I
गई
इसका
share my
लाइट
idea
चलेगी
of
ना
लाइट चली गई फिर मोबाइल से
vigilance,
आप
the learn
इतना फास्ट
participants.
नहीं हो रहा
The
था
learn
तो बहुत सारी
participants, there
स्लाइड्स
are
आपकी विजिबल ही
participants
नहीं
are
थी
not
आप
there.
आपको चेंज करते जाओ
Everybody knows about this. Whosoever is present here,
साउंड आ
but
रहा
still,
था बट स्लाइड्स
it's very
विजिबल नहीं
important
थी
to have the updated knowledge of the pharmacovigilance and
यहाँ
sensitization
पे साइड में
has
चेक
to be
करिए ना कैसे
constantly
चल रहा
there
है यहाँ
from
साइड
all
में
parts, so that whatever is the
इससे चल
aim
रहा
of
है
the
ये
scheme for which the Minister of Health has launched has to be, it
यूट्यूब
has
से
to be
डिलीट वीडियो
practice there. It's not like conducting a meeting or this and having a scheme on paper. It has to
तुम्हारा
be
लेक्चर ही
practiced.
नहीं है उसमें लाइट भी
And
नहीं है क्या पता
fortunately or incidentally, you must say that I have been associated with the pharmacovigilance scheme at Ministry of Ayush. And while implementing the scheme, even from the formulation of the scheme, while the concept was born, and while the formulation of the document, and after that, implementation of the scheme.
सॉरी
And I have also been involved with the Ministry of Ayush that we had conducted various training programs across the country, and where one of the components is used to be
खाना
a
खाना पहले पूछ लीजिए
sensitization of the audience about the pharmacovigilance
हाँ
scheme, where we always tried to sensitize whosoever was participating in the program that what the pharmacovigilance scheme is, what is the aim behind it, why it was needed for the ASU and H drugs which are actually supposed to be
ये
very
मुझे
safe without side effects,
ऐसी स्क्रीन
and
नहीं आ
what
रहा
we
हमारा
actually
जैसा
aim
कि आ
to
रही है
achieve
बुक
from this, and how to do all
नहीं
this.
आपने
So
पीपीटी
I'll
शेयर
be
किया था ना
sharing
जब
my
तक
screen,
आपकी
sir.
शेयर
You
नहीं
can
थी ऐसे ही दिख रहा था
confirm whether
ये तो
उन्होंने शेयर नहीं किया है
screen
कुछ
is
ये
there.
मोबाइल से कर रहे हैं वो बोली समझ में भी नहीं आ रहा है क्या कह रही है
फिर ऐसा करना है मुझे पर मैं प्लेटफॉर्म में परचेस कर लूँगा हमें वो लोग को कर देते हैं प्रोग्राम स्पॉन्सर करते हैं सिर्फ 100 मेंबर का ले लेते हैं ऐसा वेबिनार वेबिनार सिर्फ 100
You're
पार्टिसिपेंट का ले
trying
लेते
to
हैं या मीटिंग में भी ब्लॉक नहीं कर सकते हम कमर्शियल
कर सकते हैं
है ना
एक बंदे को मतलब कंटिन्यू वो देख के करना पड़ेगा
वो है ना इतने सारे प्रोग्राम हो रहे हैं इतना घटिया हो रहा है भाई हम यहाँ से पोस्ट करवा देते हैं उनको लिंक दे देंगे उनके बंदे के पोस्ट कर देंगे
Madam, your screen is not visible.
वॉइस सही नहीं है क्लैरिटी सही नहीं है
बट इंटरनेट इशू तो है
You please share the screen.
बट ये प्लेटफॉर्म बिल्कुल अच्छा नहीं है सर हमें
Okay,
स्टार्टिंग से
okay,
नहीं
okay,
पसंद है
okay.
ये इसके बदले ये लोग
I
मतलब
need
जूम नए नए बंदे के
No
अकाउंट
problem.
से करके 100 अप टू 100 फ्री है ना तो उसमें के लाइव स्ट्रीम
फ्री
कर
वाला
सकते हैं फ्री वर्जन में भी
कहाँ
अगर
चलेगा
किसी न्यू बंदे के अकाउंट से हम
वैसा
करें
नहीं
तो
करना
उसमें
है
टाइम भी मिल जाएगा
हमारा क्या करना है हमारे पास पैसे हैं
तो कर
is
लीजिए
it
परचेस
there
करके
now?
हम
Is
पोस्ट
the
कर
screen
देंगे
there?
No, not yet.
It is there.
No, it is not.
It said it is, and can you confirm is it there?
Take your time. Take your time, madam. Take your time.
प्रोग्राम एकदम खराब सा हो गया
हमारा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा है ट्राई नहीं है इसमें
आया है कुछ कुछ आया है बट अच्छा नहीं स्टार्टिंग खराब हुई है पूरी
ओ चलो
Or you can pass it here to my WhatsApp, and I'll do it here.
So is it there now?
No, no, it is not.
Right. And connect to the other system.
Okay, okay, take your time. Take your time, please.
There now.
Yes, it is clear. It is not. It is not there. It is not.
It
You
should be
start
there
the
now.
slideshow.
All right. So, pharmacovigilance of ASU and H drugs. Am I audible as well?
Yeah, you are audible and your screen is also
Visible.
visible.
Thank you so much. So let's proceed with this. So it says that, and starting with this saying that dying from the disease is sometimes unavoidable, but dying from the medicine is unacceptable. Who would accept that dying from the medicine? Obviously, nobody would accept to die from the medicine. Medicines are providing the relief from the death before some time. So, if a person dies from the effect of the medicine, how can that be acceptable when the medicine is merely to cure the disease? When the medicine is there to cure the disease and delay the death, if we say, though death has its own time, but the aim of the treatment is to delay what the mishappening may occur.
ये वाईफाई इसको कैसे करें?
क्या मोबाइल का डिस्कनेक्ट कर दिया?
ये तो
अच्छा
कनेक्टेड है।
बंद कर दिया है।
कनेक्टेड है।
कनेक्टेड है
हाँ
तो उनकी तरफ से नहीं लिया होगा।
हाँ मोबाइल को तो ये कनेक्टेड है इधर।
The historical background we already knew about that the girl who was given chloroform and she had a side effect. She actually died of that. Though at that time chloroform was considered to be a very safe anesthetic, but she died of that probably because of arrhythmia. This thing came into the notice of the physicians. Then there was the case of that sulfonamide tragedy, which you again came in the previous presentation. You came to know about that. So it was like a landmark for the pharmacovigilance, like it was a tragedy that happened there where 34 children and 71 adults died. And this tragedy was the trigger for the American Congress to approve this was the trigger for the So this sulfonamide actually was trigger where this pharmacovigilance system started. It led to the American Congress to approve in 1938 the Food, Drugs and Cosmetics Act. So this was the trigger for this act, that why the pharmacovigilance or why we need to overlook the effect of medicines. The next was the another tragedy which hit the world that time was the thalidomide disaster.
मेरे ख्याल से वही बोल रही है ना? वही तो रिपीट करेंगे।
So this was the little bit of history which you have already got, which already you saw in the previous presentation. Here I would like to focus on why do we need to pharmacovigilance in the ASU medicines. Normally it's considered that pharmacological effect of the medicines, the ASU medicines, there is no side effect for that. But gone are the times when it was considered that Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani medicine do not have any side effects. They are without side effects. Anybody can consume it. There is no need for a particular supervision of the drugs. But gone are those times. The safety and the quality of the ASU drugs is now questioned from time to time at various platforms. So the pharmacovigilance is definitely needed here as well. Since there have been many instances, like Minister of Ayush used to receive the complaints from abroad, from the countries, abroad countries, that there are some side effects to the medicine. Since we have we have Pushtajat, which there are heavy metal preparations as well. But every time Minister of Ayush had to come up with the clarifications that these are not actually the drugs which are being prepared by inserting the heavy metals. And there are such processes by which these are to be kept as ingredients. They are not ingredients. They are not the toxic materials present in them. So this pharmacovigilance needed to be there to assess the risk-benefit ratio as well. In India, when the Ministry of Health came up with this pharmacovigilance pharmacovigilance scheme, because it was globally understood that adverse reactions have a various major global impact on the health exchequer. There was a financial burden of the adverse drug reaction, financial burden of the health sector due to the adverse drug reaction, and it was also observed that also constitutes some percent of the cause of the disease. The disease itself is a different, but the adverse drug reaction, the death due to the adverse drug reaction, it was also observed that there is significant data there where the death of a person is due to the adverse reaction. So in India, like a pharmacovigilance center in allopathy, there were 5 centers established, and their National Pharmacovigilance Center that time was All India Institute of Medical Sciences. That was particularly for the allopathy system, the modern system of the medicine, because globally WHO had a concern for that there are drug adverse reactions which need to be documented. It's not that why it was needed, because whenever we go for the trial of a drug, a clinical trial of a drug, all the 4 trials of a drug are done, but they are done on specific population, in a specific ethnicity, with specific geographical background. But when the drug comes into the market, any age group uses that, any ethnicity uses that, any geographical area uses that, then what is the effect of that drug on those particular people, those particular consumers? That needed to be surveyed. Like we have also, in the clinical trial, there is a component, and the 5th component is a post-marketing surveillance. That means it is already there. The scheme is different thing, but post-marketing surveillance is already there, that once the drug is in the market, it needs to be surveyed. And even in the GMP, when a particular company manufactures a drug, it is the duty of that manufacturer to survey that once the drug comes into the market, what are the effects of the drug? Are there some adverse reportings of the drug? So it is the duty of the manufacturer, if there is any report of the adverse drug reaction, adverse drug event, they have to recall the product. That means it's already there. GMP, like the GMP, which is as per the Rule 157 of the Drugs and Cosmetic Act, and the Schedule T is attached to that. There is a component for the recall of the products, that there is a report of any adverse drug reaction by the consumer. So you need to recall the product. That is, the concept has been there since beginning. But Minister of Ayush, when it received many complaints for the drugs, which we always considered safe, so they had to come up with this pharmacovigilance scheme, and it was then conceptualized, it was formed on the parallel lines of the allopathy. And with that, the National Coordination Center, All India Institute, was made as a National Coordination Center. So the need for the pharmacovigilance, since it is we need to know the risk-benefit ratio. If we have a medicine, it has, do you think that it is beneficial to the person to take that medicine? It is more risk. We need to know the risk-benefit. We need to increase the patient safety as well, and the quality of the medicine, quality of the life as well. Am I audible? Somehow I get the echo. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Yes, you are
Alright.
audible.
Alright. So why there is need of the pharmacovigilance? First of all, if I ask you who are the participants, why should there be pharmacovigilance at all? I am a consumer of the medicines. We all are the consumers of the medicine. Why should there be pharmacovigilance? Let me ask you all. Let's just have a 1 second thought. Why should it be there? It should be there. There has to be a humanitarian ground. That if we are giving the medicine to the person needs to know if it has some adverse drug reaction, if it has some adverse events as well. So the first and the foremost reason, the need for having a pharmacovigilance is a humanitarian concern. Second, this adverse reaction rate may cause severe cause in the patient, severe another disease, the parallel disease, severe reaction, or the death even. So the person needs to know what he is actually consuming. Then the third one we can say promoting the rational use of medicines and their adherence. If we are specifically talking of ASU drugs, these all things apply to Unani drugs as well, Ayurveda drugs equally. So there is definitely a need of pharmacovigilance if we are giving some medicines to the consumer. We need to sensitize the consumer as well. Like I said that I have been associated with the Ministry of Ayush as well, like how to implement the disease. Now I am here in clinic where I am trying to myself implement it. I'm just trying to sensitize my patients who are coming to me. Now since it is in my mind that there is a scheme and we need to know it, there could be adverse reaction. My first advice after just telling them what I have prescribed, how to take this, I just tell them, report to me if you have some kind of problem. Report to me if you have some kind of, if you observe some kind of adverse, may not be adverse drug reaction, since that is different from the adverse event or the side effect reported to me. Slowly and steadily, you may see that, our drugs are not that entirely safe or without the side effects of this reaction. When you start putting it, when you start observing it. Recently, a patient came to me, he said that I had given him, he had IBS kind of symptoms. Since IBS is not as such in our system, but the symptoms more or less same. So we prescribed him some medicine, and next day he came to me, he said that I have got some reaction with this medicine. The reaction we thought was that he said that since I am very much allergic to this dairy products, the milk products, and I read the label of this medicine that ghee is also added into it, right? So ghee is a product of milk, it is a dairy product, and I probably think that the reaction was to that. And see, this was a point to be noted here. Since though we had taken the history that he is allergic to milk, he had IBS symptoms, so we gave that medicine. But once we stopped that, once we stopped that medicine, you are already allergic, and that contains, you are allergic to that. And it was not adverse drug reaction, but he had just experienced some untoward effect, not wanted, was not expected of this drug. It was totally different. He stopped it, and that reaction, that experience was like, now I don't have this thing. So he has come up with this follow-up. I came to know this particular medicine has this product. I need to take care of it. Now I can just oversee.
लिंक देंगे
हाथ जोड़ के बोल देना भैया ये प्राइवेट ये वाला कराटे खाते मत जाओ
फ्री में भी जाना तो जूम कर जाना फ्री में भी जूम कर लीजिए इसकी वजह से सब अलग का हो रहा है
it was the implementation was there, the administrative implementation there, and clinically now. Post-marketing, just remember this, it's the post-marketing monitoring system. The aim of this website or the Ministry of Health is to develop a culture of whatever is रिस्क रेशियो होता है तो इनमें रिस्क ज्यादा था, बेनिफिट इतना ज्यादा नहीं था। So the culture of reporting has to be developed and
एजुकेशनल वाले का नहीं बंदा कर
conduct
देता है
ये
is
खत्म
not
कर देगा
developed is
कौन
really
कौन फार्म होते हैं
are looking into that nature to our whatever is our intermediary sector or the national sector, then those who will provide their technology
आप
as
देखते हैं कि अब इसको ब्लॉक कर दो
are
देखते
at
हैं
least
इसको ब्लॉक करना
इसको कौन कौन वो फोन कर सकते हैं सर
ठीक है हम कुछ
म्यूट
नहीं
नहीं
कर
कर सकते
सकते
इसको
हैं
म्यूट नहीं कर सकते
हम नहीं कर सकते
आप तो
ऑर्गेनाइज से
गेस्ट
कर सकते हैं आशिक मैम से कर
आप तो
सकते
गेस्ट का म्यूट
हैं कौन से मैम से है यूनिस मैम से कर सकते हैं Yes. हम वो चेक करें सर डोमाइन से सर्टिफिकेट कैसे सेंड कर सकते हैं
कौन से
डोमाइन मेरे ख्याल में जो अलीगढ़ वगैरह से हुई थी ना स्टार्टिंग के दो कॉन्फ्रेंस उनके IT सर ने करवाया था तो उन लोगों ने एक लिंक दिया था उस लिंक को क्लिक करने के बाद एक ईमेल ID और पासवर्ड डालना होता था उसके बाद ऑटोमेटिक सर्टिफिकेट जनरेट होती थी तो वो शायद डोमाइन से करते हैं तो वो चेक कर रहे थे
कौन पता करते हैं
तो हम देख रहे थे सर मूवी से बच्चों लोगों ने वो जो रिसर्च कोर्स ज्वाइन किया था 1 मंथ का वो किसने कंडक्ट किया था
किसी
तो वो कहीं यूट्यूब वगैरह पे अवेलेबल नहीं है कहीं पर भी
इंस्टीट्यूशन से गया था नाम बोला
नहीं तो मतलब वो मटेरियल कंटेंट वीडियोस का अवेलेबल नहीं है
वीडियो होंगे उसके
वही पूछ रहा हूँ मिनिस्ट्री से था मतलब CCR
इस इंस्टीट्यूशन को अटैक करते थे दिल्ली में के इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ पब्लिक हेल्थ कुछ वो लोग कर रहे थे मुझे पता लगा
या इन लोगों ने अगर रिकॉर्ड किया हो तो वो दे दें आपको
अक्सर तो सुनी भी नहीं थे
अरे बट साहब उसी का रेफरेंस देके तो इससे लास्ट टू लास्ट JC में उन्होंने बताया था SD का
Your sound is not clear. I think there is some issue with the
yeah
is it breaking?
audio. Now it is clear. Now it is clear.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. So, जब हमारे पास फॉर्म्स आते थे मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष में 10 रिपोर्ट्स में डॉक्यूमेंट्स को देखा जाता था कुछ फॉर्म्स हम ऐसे देखते थे कि वो हमें लगता था इट वाज नॉट टू बी रिपोर्टेड अपॉन कई बार हमें ये लगता था कि लेट्स बी वेरी प्रैक्टिकल जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ द रिपोर्टिंग वी शुड नॉट हमें अपनी लेवल पे वी आर एनफ एनफ एफिशिएंट टू सी कि ये कैसा रिएक्शन है कैसा रिएक्शन आया है उस चीज को रिपोर्ट करें और हमारे यहाँ जैसे RRIUM बहुत सारे who are not actually qualified but they are practicing वो प्रैक्टिस करते हैं मेडिसिन को देते हैं लेकिन अभी तो हमारे स्टेट का भी कोई लाइसेंस का सिस्टम है तो एनीबडी सेल्स द मेडिसिन एनीबडी कंज्यूम्स द मेडिसिन जाके दुकान पे ले ली एक घंटे का किसी नाम सुना है ये दवाई मुझे जाके अभी कोरोना के टाइम में लोगों ने फ्रेंच भी खाए बहुत सारे च्यवनप्राश खाए एंड विद ऑफ द नॉलेज ऑफ द डॉक्टर मीरा खाया
इनका तो बस आज बड़ी मुझे मिल रहा बहुत खराब है मैंने भी कमेंट में डाला था इनको बहुत ज्यादा है इससे भी मुराद साहब ने भी डाला सर क्या होगा भाई
वो बंदा भी क्या करेगा
प्लेटफॉर्म ही खराब है
वॉइस इज नॉट क्लियर उनके सर समझ रहा करेक्ट feedback from आगे देखिए सर सर
आगे सर
because request participant give the feedback this certificate will listen automatically to them
तो फीडबैक
आगे वाला उसका वो
मिलेगा नहीं
क्या करना
सर मैं एक्चुअली लाइव कर रही हूँ तो मैं इसको टच नहीं कर सकती स्क्रीन शेयर कर रही हूँ ना तो वो विजिबल होगा सर
क्यों नहीं आ रहे वो लग रहा है
पता नहीं उन्होंने किया नहीं है
feedback करते दूसरा में दिया है किसी यहाँ तो नहीं शेयर का मार दिया
एक्चुअली हम इसको ओपन नहीं कर सकते यूट्यूब पे सिर्फ विजिबल होगा आप वहीं से कर लॉग इन कर रहे थे
एक्सटर्नली सेंस हो गया नहीं करना है ये तो कल्चर खत्म करके वो करना है फिजिकल में करवाना है मीटिंग्स
लिंक भेजिए आप ही ने
I request participant to fill the feedback sheet of the try the feedback form. Voice is not clear. And then each of you will be sent automatically. This participant to fill the feedback form.
नहीं होगा ऊपर नीचे नहीं भेजे आपने
यहाँ पे भी नहीं है व्हाट्सएप पे भी भेजा आपको यहाँ पे भी भेजा हुआ तो गाली जिस पे फीडबैक लिंक भेजी ठीक हो गया रिक्वेस्ट पार्टिसिपेंट देखो तो क्या है वन फ्लैग के प्रोसेस हो गया चलो यहाँ पे मेरा प्रोग्राम कर
डॉक्टर आयशा अंजुम जो पास आउट हो चुकी है ना तो उन्होंने मिस कॉल दिया
दवाई का भी साइड इफेक्ट है
उनके पास हमारा नंबर क्या कर रहा है हमारी उनसे कभी आए हैं तो भी मीटिंग
चीज के साथ दे रहा है और कुछ एंटीबायोटिक इफेक्ट है और कोई ड्रग दे रहा है कुछ खाना दे रहा है तो उन चीजों के
वेबिनार जो उनका हुआ उसमें उन्होंने हमारा नंबर ऐड किया होगा, तो हर एक का तो किया नहीं उन्होंने। कर्नाटक इंडिया वही डॉक्टर आयुष्मान
और आपको पता है एक ड्रग नहीं जानी चाहिए, कोई भी ड्रग नहीं जानी चाहिए विदाउट उसको भी साथ साथ करो। दिस कंपोनेंट और डेलिबरेटली कैप्चरिंग विद द फार्माकोविजिलेंस इस साथ साथ वो चीज भी रिकॉर्ड हो जाए। Such quality issues and safety concerns of administered drugs, adequately vetted drugs range from various sources that I find it necessary in the interest of the public health to oversee the impact of the drugs consumed by them. So that's the way it is. इसी के कंटेंट में चलो स्कीम तो अभी आ गई, लेकिन इसको पहले भी लगे आई जा रहे जामनगर में एक वर्कशॉप किया था कि जब उसको एक सेंटर बनाया गया है नेशनल फार्माकोविजिलेंस रिसोर्स सेंटर IUCR, तो काम कभी से चल रहा है, लेकिन अब मिनिस्ट्री बनने के बाद इसमें वर्क तो ऑलरेडी आपको पूरा डिटेल दिया गया है सेंटर के बारे में, सिस्टम के बारे में, फंडिंग एज वेल बताओ यूटिलाइजेशन भी सही हो रहा है अभी तक हो गया है यूटिलाइजेशन, बट ये स्कीम अभी इतना आपको अपना इम्पैक्ट दिखा पाएगी।
वॉल्यूम कम करना था, बंद नहीं करना है, कम कर दीजिए।
Thank you, madam, for your detailed presentation. Although there were some technical glitches, we are sorry for that. But we are highly thankful of you. You managed some time to enlighten us despite being very much busy in your OPD dealing with the patients. We are highly thankful of you. Anybody having any question or any doubt, he can unmute himself and go ahead. Any suggestion, any doubt?
Dr. Murthy, proceed that probably we don't have any query and suggestion any doubt in the presentation. Proceed for the next please.
Now I think we should thank the participants and the speakers also, and I request none other than Dr. Kumri Saab to thank all, because he's leading the war against this drug menace from the Unani fraternity. So it will be better from the Kundi Sahab if we listen some words and thank all the participants. So please.
Okay, you are making me to speak further again, sir. Thank you for organizing this wonderful program as awareness as a part of the pharmacovigilance and inviting Dr. Muzamil Rahman as the speaker. I'm very happy to learn so many things from her. And this is it has made a compulsory task for us, all of us associated with this program, to make awareness of the objective of this program with health professional, irrespective of their affiliation with the system of medicine. That is the reason we are continuing and we are sensitizing. I think by this time, around 150 awareness programs have been completed. But when it comes to the Unani one, hardly 2-3 centers are waiting for the program to be organized. Of course, like this way, some thousands of people have been sensitized and they are started asking the questions about the understanding. Previously, they are not aware of that, what to do, how to do. At least we have reached to that extent. People are realizing that it is our job, it is our responsibility. Ultimately, they are thinking that we are going to strengthen our science, our system of medicine. Like generally, the people perception is that nature is always safe. The concept of nature is safe is again reviewing. All natural products are not safe. There are reported evidences are there, and at the same time, people are also focusing about interaction of the drugs with the drugs. And one point here I would like to emphasize is that the continuous prolonged use of alternate medicines are also being reported very harmful. Even the international research councils and even the ICMR says that all herbal products, though they are found to be free from side effects, are efficacious, but physicians should take care not to be continually recommended for more than 3 months of a period. If there is a need, ask them to go for organ-specific safety profiles. Because we don't know the long effect of the adversaries are there. Because of the paucity of the time, I couldn't give you the ADR reporting, and some of the drugs where delayed reactions are likely to be manifested with the use. We know that Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, we have an n number of bhasmas are there, pushtajat are there. If they are unable to process properly due to the preparation of such a material, of course, by the time of consumption it won't cause anything, but consistent and prolonged use can cause a delayed manifestation of ADR. That's one of the issues, and we reported also. Dr. Muzamil Rahman, I think she's asking. We couldn't hear, madam. Please, little bit louder. I can't hear you, please. Sorry. Sorry, I couldn't get you. Maybe madam wants to say something. Let me take as a WhatsApp message so that we can discuss and elaborate on this one. And now this is the Government of India Ministry of Ayush is a very prestigious task. Of course, the program for the modern system of medicine started somewhere 2 decades back. There are certain limitations which makes them to be withdrawn. Similarly, Ayush system was also made with the same fate. In 2006, the program was started in the mid of after 20 years. I think the program has been withdrawn due to non-availability of funds, and there is an improper execution of the program. But now, since 2017, the program is of course wonderfully working just because of the efforts of the people like all of you, the professionals. At the grassroots level, our program assistants, doctors, professional health stakeholders, and at the apex ministry people, and there are so many people. Of course, if we continue the same thing for several years, the next coming 2-3 more years, I think we will be reaching to the task. I request all my respected audience here, please focus on the Unani system of related drugs related any eventuality or anything which is not been anticipated. With this, I further once again extend my thanks and greeting to the organizer, my senior, my brother, Dr. Yunus Ji. Thank you for joining with us, Dr. Muzamil Rahman Ji. Of course, I met you in one of the first meeting at the ministry. After that, I couldn't get a chance to meet you. And Dr. Ananta is there. Dr. Nagma Parveen is there behind this program because she's our assistant. Of course, she's consistently working, reporting appropriately. As the committee has told you, the objective of the pharmacovigilance program is not only the drug-related activities, but report misleading practices is also being incorporated. And we have so many countries in the world have taken the task because the way our system is being reflected very badly with a lot of false claims. With this, I am thankful to you for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Yunus and all the people. Thank you very much.
So from the fraternity of pharmacovigilance, I thank you, sir, and I thank all the panelists, all the participants. Now the webinar is over, and if anybody is having any query or any question, you can mail at ppv.unani.kolkata